Have you ever really stopped to think about walking? I mean, it seems so simple, right? It's something we just do every single day without a second thought. But what if I told you that this simple act is actually one of the most complex, beautifully engineered things our bodies do? Well, today, we're going to decode the human gait.
And that brings up a really good question. If it's so basic, why even bother studying it? Well, because understanding how we walk is kind of like getting the owner's manual for your own body. It can tell us so much about our health, our history as a species, and maybe even our future. So let's get into it.
Here's a quick look at our game plan. We're going to start with why walking is such a big deal. Then peek inside the body's toolkit. We'll break down the two main phases of a step, zoom right in on the anatomy of that single step, and finally, we'll learn the lingo that the experts use to talk about it all.
All right, first things first, let's really nail down why walking is so incredibly central to who we are as humans.
I mean, think about it. Long before we had cars or bikes or anything, really, walking was our original superpower. It's how our ancestors found food, it's how they escaped danger, and it's literally how they walked their way across the entire planet. This isn't just a habit, it's hardwired into our DNA for survival.
And today, it's so much more than just getting from point A to point B. It's exercise, it's recreation, and you know what? It's deeply social. The way we walk is actually shaped by where we live, who we hang out with, even where we work. A lot of us had a wake-up call on that during the lockdowns, right? Suddenly working from home meant our daily step count just fell off a cliff.
You know, our walk tells the story of our life. It starts to show up around our first birthday. And get this, by age 4, most of the key parts of an adult walk are already there. It gets better and more refined as we become young adults, and then, as we get older, it often starts to decline, showing changes in our strength and balance. It's a skill that literally grows and changes with us.
So, what's actually going on under the hood? What does our body need to pull off this amazing feat? Let's take a look at the essential toolkit.
Turns out you need 3 main things to be in working order. First, your nervous systems have to be intact. That's the command setter running the show. Second, you need a solid musculoskeletal system. Bones and muscles strong enough to hold your entire body up on just one leg at a time. And finally, and this is the secret sauce, it has to be incredibly energy efficient. For our ancestors, the less energy they burned while walking, the more they had for everything else. That was a huge advantage for survival.
Okay, now for the really cool part, the mechanics. Every single step you take, no matter how fast or slow, can be broken down into 2 main phases. But before we get to the phases, we need to define what we're measuring. It's called the gait cycle, and it's just the complete series of movements that happens from the moment one foot hits the ground to the moment that very same foot hits the ground again. You could also just call it one stride. And the 2 phases are perfect opposites of each other. First, you've got the stance phase. That's when your foot is on the ground holding you up. In technical terms, it's a closed kinetic chain. Your foot is fixed. Then you've got the swing phase. That's when your foot is in the air, moving forward. That's an open kinetic chain. Your foot is free. So one supports, the other advances. Simple as that.
All right, let's put this whole thing under a microscope. Inside that one gait cycle, our bodies are actually doing a bunch of different jobs. We can group them into 4 key moments.
Now, scientists will break this down into even more periods, but for our purposes, it's really about 4 main jobs. Job number 1 is the loading response. That's your body bracing for impact and absorbing shock. Job 2 is mid-stance, for your body just gracefully glides over your planted foot. Job 3 is the pre-swing or push-off. This is the engine. It's what launches you forward. And finally, job 4 is the mid-swing, where your leg sails past your standing leg, getting ready to land and start the whole dance all over again.
So now that we kind of get the mechanics, let's learn how to speak the language. How do physical therapists and biomechanists actually measure and describe the way we walk?
First term you need to know, stride length. This lines up perfectly with our gait cycle. It's the total distance from where your heel hits the ground to the next time that same heel hits the ground. Now, here's where it can get a little confusing, so listen close. Don't mix up stride length with step length. A step is just the distance from one foot's heel strike to the opposite foot's heel strike. So the easiest way to remember it is it takes 2 steps to make 1 full stride. Next up is cadence. This one's easy. It's just your rhythm. It's the number of steps you take over a certain amount of time, usually measured in steps per minute. It's basically the tempo to your own personal walking song. So what's a typical tempo?
Well, for most healthy adults, a comfortable, efficient cadence is right around 110 steps per minute. That seems to be the sweet spot.
And when you put it all together, your cadence and your stride length, you get the grand finale, your gait speed. This is the bottom line, right? It's how fast you're actually moving. It's a simple formula. Take longer strides or take steps faster, and your overall speed is going to go up. So ultimately, when you combine all these little details, the phases, the timing, the distances, the speed, you get something totally unique to you. You get your gait. It's your personal style of walking, and it's as individual as your fingerprint. So there you have it. You now have the basic blueprint for decoding how we walk. The next time you're out and about, pay a little attention to it. Think about your rhythm, your stride. What does your walk say about you?